Welcome to the world of ShadowWest, a dark fantasy western powered by the fast and flexible Shadow Dark system. It's a new vision of our own Wild West. The sun can be cast into darkness for days. An alien mystical ore crashes to the earth during the hours of the bleak. Factions rise, trying to control its power. Myths come to life. Strange creatures roam the landscape and dwell in deep, dark mines. But in forgotten gulches and in the ruins of ancient civilizations, great power can be found. You can play as a gunslinger, a scout, a holy roller, a rough cut, range rider, or a mystic. All of these classes, many backgrounds, and unique legacy abilities have been created just for ShadowWest. You'll also find new rules for riding, trains, firearms, and a skill system. You'll also meet a whole host of dangerous and terrifying critters that now walk the deserts and prairies. Get out of the saloon and take a look around. See what is waiting for you in the dark of the Shadow West. Howdy, partners. Looks like we got quite a crowd here tonight, which is awesome. Thanks, everybody. Well, that light really makes me look red, doesn't it? I know there's a filter for that. Hey, Sage and Brett and Cyril and Ari and Elise, Lisanne, Julia. We have quite a collection of friends out there tonight. Some of you have been involved in this before, in the projects before. Some of you are just tuning in, which is great. So, yeah, I was away when the Kickstarter went down, went off, or should I say concluded. And of course, I was completely blown away to see the end result, which, you know, as many of you have seen, is up there, just over 18,000, and we still have late pledges coming in, which is just staggering to me. I think when I first put this out there, I knew 5,000 was an attainable goal, and of course, I started it much lower, and then I decided, all right, well, 10,000 I think is not unattainable for a product that seemed to be generating interest, but was not necessarily, from a company that's really well known. And then I said, well, 15,000 would be cool. And then, if I have 20,000, 25,000, all the various levels already kind of charted out. 20,000, I think, is what I listed on the Kickstarter as the next highest tier, which would be the full campaign setting added. I'll talk a little bit about that tonight, too, because I did get some questions from that on the Kickstarter itself, the Kickstarter comments, which was cool. But, I really wasn't sure what was going to happen. And, when it finally turned over at 18,000, and I was up pretty late in Germany watching it unfold, and I was just kind of like, man, like, there it goes, I'm just like watching it click over. And then the next day and then the subsequent 2 weeks to have a continued stream of late pledges. I'm so thrilled. And big thanks to everyone who's pledged here. Thanks to everyone who's contributed in other ways, such as supporting at the booth and helping at the booth and offering to contribute and doing art and doing music. Both Lisanne and Brett are here in chat tonight, both artist and musician, illustrator and musician, who will be doing the soundtrack, and we'll talk all about that. This isn't going to be a really long report from the trail because we have a big stream coming up on the 19th, Thursday. And I guess I'll start out by pitching that, and I'll pitch it again at the end, that it will be a chat stream similar to this, but we are also going to have Brett McCoy talking about the soundtrack, and we're going to have our friends from Crooked Tales talking about their work developing the add-ons, the physical add-ons, the dice, the coasters, the leather slipcase, some of which I have some preview shots for you tonight. If you are a Kickstarter, I sent an update out about a half an hour ago, about 40 minutes ago now, that actually has some preview shots of what they've been working on. It looks fantastic. So everything is really exciting. Again, this has moved beyond what I anticipated. Sometimes I look at the number and I think 312 backers. I got a lot of work to do. So, but it's welcome work. And as you know, this is, someone asked me the other day, what are you doing the rest of the summer? I was like, well, I guess I'm writing ShadowWest. I guess that's going to be it. That's what my goal is going to be. So we also will be debuting some more art from Lisanne next week. She has sent me some additional really cool character illustrations, and I was going to show them tonight, but I thought, let's just save it for next week. Let's have next week be the big reveal. And as always, for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, because I've got quite a few people watching tonight, thank you for joining. I can't see who everybody is, but it's more than the few people who I know who tune in regularly. Please just ask questions if you have them about the campaign, about the process. So I guess I'll start with where I'm at and where it's going. I actually had quite a bit of downtime while I was traveling, good downtime. And I did get some work done on Shades of Hellhound Trail, which is the first adventure for the first scenario for ShadowWest. That first run of that will probably be, I think I have it listed as a game for Dex Light. And that is 4th of July weekend in Morristown, New Jersey. Those of you who are locals and have been in the gaming scene for a long time in this area, such as Lisanne, and I don't know who else is on here. DexCon at one time was a really big regional con. Dexlight is much smaller. They were on 2 other events throughout, and Tom, I saw Tom was on here earlier too. I wish Golden Dragons too. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, that's Tom. Hey Tom, and Tom, has been to Metatopia, which is their game development conference, and they also run Dreamation, which is kind of their home in-house big LARP, if I remember correctly. It's been years since I've been to it, but Dexlight, it will be the first time. I'm just going back now to see who else is here. Shades of Hellhound Trail will be the first, and Elise is here. Yay! I'll see Elise in a couple weeks at Odd Day Gaming, which is cool. She's running Pirate Borg. So if you're in the New Hope, Lambertville, and I'll see Ari too, and Julia, I believe, and Lisanne probably. So if you're not already planning to attend and you are in the New Hope, Lambertville, Stockton, New Jersey, that's the Stockton that is over on the border of PA, not where the college is at. Yeah. It's another Dexlight. Dreamation's another Dexlight now. That's good to know because I might consider going because it used to just be their big LARP. But anyway, we're doing a one-day gaming event at Oddbird Brewing. So, yeah, I haven't gone, Tom, because they haven't done it in person again. I'm hoping they'll do it in person again because it was really good. It was a really good event from what I understand. But it's a one-day event over at Oddbird Brewing on June 29th. The brewery asked me, when they saw we hang out there, friends with the proprietors, and they said when they found out what I did, they said, would you like to do a game, like a little mini game convention, a game day here? I said, sure. So that'll be happening on June 29th. I won't be running ShadowWest though. I don't think I'm going to have it ready for that. I will be running Trash Checks, and I'll be running Gone Squatching for Call of Cthulhu, a modern Call of Cthulhu scenario about looking for Sasquatch. So that should be quite entertaining. It's full already. So I have a feeling there might be a wait list, and I'll might have an extra character or two. So Metatopia is back in person. Okay, I'll keep an eye on that for this year. So Dexlight will be the first debut of Shades of Hellhound Trail, and I've been working on that. And then I realized that I had to actually quantify what happens during the bleak because I hadn't really. You find the Squatch, you'll be looking for Squatch. This will be interesting. It'll be entertaining. If I did decide, I realized I had to define exactly what happens during the bleak because I'm there writing this scenario, and I talk about the bleak. I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't really defined the game effects, like the game effects, what happens as far as the random encounter tables, what happens as far as the effects on the characters. And I didn't want it to just be, use the Shadow Dark rules. which involves the timer and all that, which it does. But having said that, there are other things that happen during the bleak as far as the way creatures respond and act, and it's not complete darkness. So I didn't want to institute the complete darkness rules, but it is a supernatural darkness that has effects. That has effects on non-bleak creatures. So I thought that would be kind of fun. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I went through quite a few iterations. I was like, I don't call it the darkness, the shadows, whatever. But I was like, the bleak, I think is good because it also evokes this idea that there's something in there that is inherently forlorn and dangerous. So I fleshed that out. Those are the rules I got together. November 6 to 9. Okay, I'll see what's going on. Last year, I recall there was a reason. There was something going on that I didn't look any further because I did think I did spot it. We're talking about Metatopia, the game design event. That was, I think there was something going on November 6 to 9 that I knew I couldn't make it, but I'll take a look for this year for sure. So that's what I did. I've been working on Shades of Hellhound Trail. I've been working on the rules a little bit. The core rule book is piecing together as these things tend to do. I did not really think that I should sit down and try to write it beginning to end yet. I wanted to kind of piece together the essential elements necessary for running this adventure. And this also includes some of the character abilities, some more fleshing out of weapons and combat, things like this that are going to be really inherent to running this. And I think it'll be really fun. As I've said, I have the love of horror and I have the love of the dark cult Western thing, but I did want to keep this an adventure game. I want to keep it fun too. I do want to keep a tone where if players want to, they can, go rob a train or something, or stop a train robbery. I wanted it to be as much of a Western adventure as a Shadow Dark adventure. So that's where I'm at too. I'm really working at trying to balance these elements. I've pulled back on a lot of the kind of open world nature of the games that I've run and developed, where it's kind of a mix and match skill-based game. And I really kept it class-based. I've really fully committed to that. And strictly, much more strictly class-based like Shadow Dark versus letting it branch out too much. So that's kind of where I've been with the game. Yeah, I definitely want to, and even when I run Call of Cthulhu in the Old West, I don't use full pulp rules, but I use some of the pulp aspects so that characters aren't afraid to get in a gunfight. Like, yeah, if you sit there and you get in a protracted gunfight, you're probably going to get killed because it's Call of Cthulhu. But you can maybe last a couple rounds shooting it out with an outlaw gang before you take too much damage. Of course, I got so another late pledge. Thank you very much if you are watching and this encouraged you to do so. You might be further encouraged to do so when I post. They might also come because I did send a note out to the group about some of the add-ons. I'm going to reveal those in a little bit. The prototypes for the add-ons, which are really beautiful. So I'm really thrilled with them. From Crooked Tail Crafts. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. That's where ShadowWest is at. And I'm going to, as I talked to Maeve quite a bit, and I talked to Lisanne during the week and Brett as well. Coming back, when I came back, I just had a load of life catch-up things to do. So I got to work on it a little bit last week. This week, I had a few other things I put into place so that in the coming weeks, I'm just going to be diving deep into this. I'll probably continue to do some development streams and some write-ups as far as how the game is progressing, what you can expect as it develops. That'll probably continue throughout the summer as I keep writing. As they seem to be very popular, people are watching them. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Wow. So what to go with next? Maybe I'll break my initial statement. Maybe I'll pull up a piece or two of Lisanne Lake art we haven't seen yet that I didn't get a chance to do the Photoshop magic on the character paintings, but let me see what I've got as far as some monsters to show off. Let's see. And see if we can finally find that mine squid, or whatever we're going to call it now, because it no longer lives in a mine. Lisanne sent it to me like 3 times, and it kept vanishing. It wasn't, the email was not cooperating. And finally, I'm like, oh wait, there it is. I got it. So let me pull out that illustration. Let's see what others I have here. Excellent. Range Rider. The Range Rider is awesome, but I'm going to save that till I get to desaturate it. So let me just save this. And we'll put this under black and white artwork. All right. Replace the old tree squid. And we have a new tree squid. So the story behind this creature is kind of funny. I don't know how much to tip my hat with it, quite literally. Yeah, can't do the. Yeah, that's all we're doing in Photoshop. We're just making the painting sepia. That's it. All the paintings are exactly like Lisanne painted them. And as always, no AI in the production of this game. I've had several questions from people who are like, I'm going to back your game as long as you're not using AI. So I'm not using AI. Pull open this guy here. I'll pull this guy open too. I haven't actually shown him off yet. I think the backers might have seen him in an update. I'm not gendering the Wood Devil. I don't know what gender the Wood Devil is. No, nor do I particularly care to find out. Oh, there's the tree squid. Okay. All right. So thanks for the compliment on the art. And as you see, the artist is right here. Yeah. I mean, and I always say, I think the art is a big impetus in people pledging the game. I know, like, I just backed Sickest Witch by Justin Saras, and part of why I did it was his art was really, really cool. All right. Just lost StreamYard for a second. I had to get it back. Sorry. So stop sharing that. And I said something the other day online. I know Elise commented on it, and a couple other people saw it, that I'm enjoying the fact that these games are starting. Obviously the content of the game is important, but for a long time, these games, they might have a great painting or a great illustration or a great cover, and the layout was awful, and it didn't feel like the game. It didn't immerse you completely in the game. And by the way, Sage is also, if she's still here, is the graphic designer who took care of the Journeys deck and the Cold Plague scenario for Call of Cthulhu. And she will, as far as we know, be doing the layout. Unless something unexpected comes up, we'll be doing the layout. I'll be meeting with her next week to talk about that and doing the layout for this, which she did a great job with the other 2 products. So here's the tree. It's now a tree squid. It was a mine squid. So this was inspired by a pretty obscure first edition Dungeons and Dragons monster that I've always had a kind of a fascination for, because it was just so weird. I was like, who thought of that one? That's brilliant. So of course I borrowed it for the game. Not borrowed it, but it inspired. This thing was originally going to be living in a mine. and you know, it's going to have these long tendrils that snake around corridors and grab characters and do strange things to their innards with its venom. And I've just kind of told you what the monster is. If you dig back into your first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons books, you could find out what it is. But then Lisanne sent me the first illustration. She's like, you know, I thought about the first drawing, I should say. Illustration drawing, yeah. The first drawing. And so I thought about just putting it in a Joshua tree. I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I guess it's a tree squid now. So I'm going to come up with a different name and a different background and history for this creature. But that was kind of an amusing shift. But yeah, I thought this one was pretty awesome. I really like the fact that it blends in with the trees. So you could be walking. I don't know if anyone else here has been out to the Joshua Tree Preserve out in the Mojave Desert. I have twice. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, haunting, and it's perfect setting for a dark old west. And I've driven through it at night, parts of it where there's absolutely no cell phone reception. That was, talk about suddenly realizing you could disappear out here and nobody would ever know where you went. That was my thought driving through there. It was a little unnerving, but it was interesting. There was some strange stuff out there. I could talk about that another time. But the desert does strange things to you at night when you're out there. But would not be out of line to run into a tree squid lurking among the Joshua trees. So there's our tree squid, and now I can shift that over. I'll do a reveal on another creature, which I haven't shown yet. I'll save some of the bigger illustrations for next week. And just grade and window. So meet the Wood Devil. This is the ShadowWest big hairy humanoid. Your Sasquatch or Wood Devil. Well, they call it in Ape Canyon. They called them Wood Devils. If you're familiar with the Ape Canyon story and mythology, behold the Wood Devil, and has absolutely no relevance to the Gone Squatching adventure next week. So do not be concerned that what you might actually run into is something along these lines. There's no relationships whatsoever in Gone Squatching. Just I want to get that out there and make that abundantly clear. So the Wood Devil is, in fact, when people say they're seeing Sasquatch, that this is kind of what we came up with. We try to befriend. Yeah. So, you know, what's really funny is we were like, does it look cute with the eyes? Because originally it had no eyes. And then I'm like, yeah, but a big part of the mythology of Sasquatch are the amber eyes, the amber glowing eyes. So I don't know. Like I did not find this particularly cute, probably because I also know the stats for it. So I was like, yeah. So I love the teeth. Yeah. If you think it's cute, the teeth should definitely be a deterrent. Like, now in the mythology of the Old West, like even if you talk about the Ape Canyon incident, reportedly these things did not become aggressive until the miners shot at them. So again, maybe the Wood Devil is not a particularly vicious creature when left to its own devices. It's only nasty when it has been engaged in a violent form. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what shape the Wood Devil takes. I didn't have a particular scenario for the Wood Devil in ShadowWest in mind yet, and we will see how it develops. But I really thought that was a fun piece of art because it's got that kind of big, hairy, Sasquatchy look, but then it has that almost anime-like mouth, that really like scary, like over-exaggerated, monstrous mouth. So cool. So the other news is, and again, we will be talking about this and more at length next week when we have Brett come on, but Brett will be doing a 45 to 60 minute dark Western soundtrack for the game. And we had a great discussion just in terms of inspirations, which ran the obligatory Once Upon a Time in the West, Man with No Name trilogy, Two Fields of the Nephilim, which of course their entire reference point for their first album, at least Dawn Razor, was a lot of the imagery and soundscape of this mythological Old West. Then we got into John Carpenter's Vampires, which we both agreed, even though it's kind of a cheesy movie and I'm not sure how it holds up, almost 30 years later now, 25 years later now. The soundtrack's phenomenal. John Carpenter composed and played the whole thing. And it's a great Western, like dark horror Western soundtrack. So it's got a little bit of rock sound to it as well. So it kind of kicks ass a little bit and keeps you moving and it's action oriented. But Vampires I still count as a fun movie, even though it is pretty much just an action adventure vampire hunting thing. It's not anything particularly dark or serious, but it's John Carpenter. So yeah. So the full confession is we were really hoping that soundtrack would make it. We were like, come on, 15,000, get the soundtrack. And I was so thrilled when I saw that tick over. And the truth is we would have probably done it eventually anyway, but this just gave me the money to pay Brett to do it now, and to commit the summer to it. And, so he could focus on it. And then outside of all the other musical and work life and family life stuff he does, which is quite a bit. Yeah, exactly. Carpenter meant it to be a Western. And even when I watched it years ago in the theater, I saw it several times because I was just so blown away by it because it was a Western. It was a Western with vampires. So take note of that, Sage, if you're still watching. There's another movie for you. I occasionally send Sage vampire movie references because she's into vampire stuff. So I'm like, oh, have you seen this one? Especially ones that are in the ancient history category that I know that she might not be aware of. So John Carpenter's Vampires is another really fun one. So let's take a look at some of the stuff from our friends at Crooked Tales. Yeah, I had quite a few people say we will absolutely try to get that soundtrack back into one of the soundtrack. And we've had some discussions as to whether or not we're gonna distribute it beyond the game and the Kickstarter. We will probably do something with it. We are not quite sure yet. We have to do some investigation into how we would want to position that. Oh, did I shut that window? After all that work of getting that slideshow set up. Of course I shut it. At least I didn't shut down StreamYard because that just would have been a real pain. All right, so let me get this back up and going here. Okay, so Crooked Tales. Some of this will be, like I said, I sent this to the backers first. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. No, it's just hidden. I don't know why it didn't come up as share this window. Now it is. Maybe because I had it minimized. But anyway, so here's some of the work from Crooked Tales Crafts. These are the add-ons that are available. If you backed the two highest tiers of the game, the near highest tier, I don't know if the coasters were an add-on or the shot glass was an add-on. But in any case, these are available as add-ons. These are coasters. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying these are all still in progress. These are in progress prototypes. They are still working on these, but this is the work they've gotten me as of this week. And here are your coasters. A set of 4 coasters. I think it's $25 or something as an add-on. Or if you back the highest tier, you get the coasters too. I know the highest tier is a big ask, but there is a lot packed into it. Like we have put a lot into it. The next thing that we have up are the stickers. And here are some of the stickers they've been working on. The Good Luck cracks me up because if you're a fan of old industrial music, that is referential to a certain album by a band with a rather offensive name who I happen to like very much. And it's rather humorous because I really was like, oh man, that's that Revolting Sea album cover almost. So that was quite amusing to me. And here are some of the other stickers that they have worked on so far, that Kate has worked on so far. And again, she wanted me to stress that if I show these are prototypes. They're still being developed. They're still being worked on, but you'll get a pack of stickers, and I think that's cheap. It's like $5 or $6 or something. So I'm particularly enamored with the dice. These are the resin dice that are coming to life. I wanted it to glow like little nuggets of onyx, the magical ore that falls from the sky. And I think these are shaping up to be really nice. And she's mostly done with those. I think these are fantastic. It's such an eerie look to them. It's like, oh, you took what I was thinking about those dice. And these are going to be the dice sets that, again, will come with a couple of the higher tiers, or you can buy them as an add-on. And that's what we have at the moment. Yeah, these are really nice dice. I was thrilled. I said one, how about like gold nuggets? The other one, like Onyx nuggets. So we have holstered a couple other prototypes that they sent me some images of that were so mind-blowingly good. I want to save them for next week when Crooked Tails Crafts joins us. They sent it to me, and it was the first one I saw, and I was just like, I didn't order that. And they were like, yeah, but we thought it was a great idea, and you mentioned it possibly being an idea, and we're still working on the other things. We wanted to get you an idea for this. And I just like, wow. So it was pretty mind-blowing. Their work is really, really, really nice. But as I said, we've got a couple other surprises from them en route. At least one other one that I think people are just going to, like, their jaws are just going to drop when they see it because it's so nice. But they're still working on the Onyx die, the oversized Onyx die. There have been some mechanical struggles with it. So we're still working on that, but we have a couple things in place if for any reason that doesn't work out for the top tier. But we will have something for you that is very special. There's no doubt about that. And like I said, not my addiction. Yeah, I know. That has been an ongoing thing. I've largely broken my dice addiction, but you can bet I'm going to be keeping a set of any and all of these dice for myself. So that's kind of where I'm heading with those. So that's what we have for Crooked Tales. And again, these are still in progress. These are not even completed pieces yet. And I was just kind of like, oh my God, look at them. So nice. Now, again, I did see their work in person. I talked to them extensively in person up at TotalCon in February, and I was fully confident in their desire and ability to create some awesome stuff for us. So yes, some of these will be available as late pledges, and there will be a limited number of things available definitely at Page, because Page is a big convention. Page is a big Shadow Dark convention. And okay, I'll see you later. See you later, Elise. Thanks for coming by. I'm not going to be on much longer, but yeah, good to see you. And I'll see you probably next week online and in a couple of weeks in person. So I will make sure that some of this stuff will be available at least at Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo in January, if not beyond. And I have ordered a quantity that I should, even after Kickstarter fulfillment, have some of each available. And then if someone really wants something, we'll talk about getting it. And then I will probably also get them to do some non-Kickstarter exclusive merchandise too, so that there's more stuff later if people want it. But yeah, that's the progress. That's the report from the trail. I'm sure if there's anything else that I wanted to cover tonight. It's really just been a whirlwind getting back after the conclusion of the Kickstarter. Again, I can't thank everybody enough. I'm flattered. I'm blown away. I knew that people were interested in this, but I had no thought that it was going to be this over the top. And I'm obviously thrilled. So we really look forward. Everybody involved in it. Quite a few of you are here. Ari is our key support at the conventions that she can make it to, and she'll be running some games for us at Dex Light and at Page, and that's going to be awesome. Plus doing demos at the table, and of course, Lisanne, Brett, behind the scenes is Maeve, who does all the social media and basically produces this. So, and Sage for designing, graphic designing, and everybody else for supporting. And I'm so thrilled. And I see quite a few supporters on here now. So yeah, this is going to be good. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to running the first scenario. I'm going to be probably doing some play tests of it. I'll start with my core group. Tom, Play Without Ego, is one of the core group. They are the first line play testers of everything I've done so far, and they have not steered me wrong, as well as Blake and Neil, and occasionally our other friend Bill, if he has time to jump in. And then after that, obviously, they will be at the conventions, and then I'll be doing some online open play tests because Crooked Tails really wants to play too, so I'm going to try to get something together for them. They're up in Rhode Island, but I'll probably be doing some online play tests. So I'm going to open up the backers, Kickstarter backers, and regulars first, and then I'll probably be doing some public games of this. Throughout this will be later on in the summer. I'm still really just trying to get everything together. I'm still busy in the deep writing mode. Brett, we can do this. We can do playtesting online too. A lot of what I'm doing is online at this point. If nothing else, the day that you're going to be up at Page, so I know you mentioned it, if you wanted to stick around, I'll be running a game at 8 o'clock that night. So I don't know if it's going to be too late for you to stay, but you could always try to jump into that, or I could try to set up I've had a couple people ask me, some of the people who are here tonight say, if I don't get into your game at Page, are you going to run another session? And I might set up a session just for people I know who are there in person. So maybe we'll even get a couple celebrity players and GMs to show up and jump in. Who knows? At Page, you never know who's going to sit down. When I played Shadow Dark Saturday night at Page, I wasn't aware that I was sitting with like 3 major game designers like playing the game. I was like, oh, okay. So this is what we're all doing Saturday night. This is how you meet people. So yeah, so we'll work something out. I think it'll be fun. I want to have a lot of opportunities for everybody to play test. And yes, as I just see the banner come across, I will start to give some closing pitches. And again, thanks for everybody. But foxandboargames.com, if you sign up to our mailing list, that's where a lot of the info for playtesting is going to come through. Again, and I've had a couple more pledges since I've been sitting here, or at least one more pledge since I've been sitting here. And late pledges are open. Late pledges. Don't give me a link. You're giving me a link. Share a screen. There you go. Okay. So late pledges are open. They will be open for probably through the fall. And we will be presenting more and more content. And don't forget, if you were on the mailing list, or if you go to this page, you can actually download some of the characters, some of the pre-made characters. And here's some of so I'll be replacing this picture and showing the actual prototypes in a little bit. But here are some previews. And by being part of the Kickstarter or being part of our mailing list, which we send out mail very infrequently, once every 2 weeks to a month, you will be getting some advance notice of playtesting. And other than that, people who have been on social media and chatting with me, and a couple people from Discord, the Shadow Dark Discord, I really appreciate everything. And I want to say thanks again. It's awesome seeing everybody. Tom, Julia, Elise, Ari, Sage, Brett, Lasan, Scott. Hey there, Scott. Thanks. Serial. Trying to give as many shout outs as possible. And drop by Thursday night so you can hear. Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. And drop in Thursday night so you could hear Brett talk a little bit about the soundtrack and hear Crooked Tails talk a little bit about their process in creating some of the beautiful add-ons you have seen tonight. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.